Dragon Ball Z has been around since the late 80s. Basically, around Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right before the start of Power Rangers, which is still popular even now. Um, Saved by the Bell around that time, late 80s, early 90s. It's amazing how far Dragon Ball goes back. Um, it all started with a little story called Journey to the West. And it was about a monkey kid who went on adventures. And the original Dragon Ball, that's essentially what it was. And then eventually, especially around the time skip thing, wasn't about that anymore. But for the first 100 or so episodes, it was more or less about that one. However, the characters he interacted with, the environments, things like that, not the same thing at all. It was just him on adventures, but not the same adventures that was in that book. He had a king tune a cloud, he had a tail, but he didn't look like the character, he didn't really act like the character, but just monkey inspired. Then Dragon Ball Z came in there, and power ups there, yelling, rocks being thrown out everywhere, like with your mind or whatever, and like planet destroying things, and like emotional deaths and everything, powering people up, androids and things like that. It's just amazing fantasy stuff there for sure. I loved it. But like, I was around a teenager at that time, and everyone and my mother was fucking, not really my mother, but like was talking about Dragon Ball Z. It was way too popular for me to even think about because, rebellious attitude. Like I don't want to watch what you want to watch thing. I had that attitude back then. Now I go like, well, it's cool. Let me check it out. But back then I wasn't like that. Rebellious, young people shit. And I was like, all right, cool, check it out. Like the All of Us Are Dead, or what's it called, the Squid Game. It was cool. I'll check it out. I saw Ozark. It wasn't for me. I checked out Ozark, that kind of stuff there. But Dragon Ball Z, I watched episode one, like like a smart fan should do, and I fell in love with it. First thing I remember, the first thing I saw was I believe it was that intrigued me actually was a farmer pointing a gun at a giant villain with giant hair, Raditz, of course. He shot Raditz, and I believe in the American version he caught the bullet, but and then he shot it back at him, and then in the American version he was like, "Oh, that's smart." Even back then, when I was young, I didn't buy that. I didn't buy that. And found out what happened in the Japanese version, which is not him speaking at all. So I found it very therapeutic, per se, to watch Dragon Ball Z. I enjoyed Piccolo, and like his blood changing colors for no reason, and the whole the beam going through both of them. I never seen anything like that before or since then. Ridiculous. Um, but yeah, it was a very good, strong, energetic, powerful, holy show. You never seen anything like that kind of stuff since. You see stuff like that now with like screen filming attacks, but the attacks themselves aren't huge, like like the size of a city or whatever, or size of a building. You don't see stuff like that. It's just intense into the camera, filling your screen. But the stuff in Dragon Ball Z was like shaking goddamn like countries and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was ridiculous. So like, yeah, you had to watch that show. It was ridiculous. Like very, very intense, kind of show for sure. So I like back in the 90s, I didn't care to think about what the long lasting effects of Dragon Ball Z would be, especially with what the way Toonami was handling the show. And I thought to myself, Toonami was kind of killing it because of the censorship job they were doing, but it was fine because people were still talking about that thing in the early 2000s. when Dragon Ball Z officially ended, 1997 it ended, or 96 depending on, whatever. So mid 90s or so it ended, and in 2000 it hit America on Toonami, which really got it big. It was on WB Channel 11 for me, and that's where I started watching it. So when I watched it, it was it was cool. Like the American music was cool with the swoosh sound effects of like the Western stuff, and Vegeta and Nappa and everything like that. Very cool stuff there. Their motivations, the evilness of them. I loved every second of it. And I thought to myself, like this show is going to be popular for a long time. And then like Toonami came in there and kept it on there because WB eventually canceled the show, so it wasn't on anymore. And then years later, Toonami picked it up there and played it on the network for years. And then eventually, because of time, it went away. It's probably still on now. I don't even know. It could be on sometime now. But Dragon Ball Super took over, obviously. But never in my wildest dreams did I think that Dragon Ball Z would be so popular with virtually everybody. Like, I knew if anybody, like, I knew Mr. Bean, the silent comedian, Mr. Bean, since the 80s, would be popular forever because the way his show is, it's meant for nonverbal communication. You don't got to translate the show. You don't got to translate it. Everything is for a visual comedy. I knew that would last forever. When I got that feeling back then when I first saw Mr. Bean when I was a teenager. I felt at that time that show Mr. Bean would last forever. I didn't feel the same for Dragon Ball Z. I thought eventually I would stop seeing people cosplay as characters, stuff like that there, and I didn't really mind it because it's a way things are. But like I see this guy do Dragon Ball Z stuff there. I saw Chris Leonard do some stuff like that. I saw another girl in there wear orange gi and like do a Kamehameha. I've seen Kamehamehas in UFC a couple years ago. I mean, like Dragon Ball Z is like the GOAT of anime. The Chris Jericho, the John Cena, the Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man. It's gonna last forever per se. In those circles, of course. So like I'm just amazed, and I see stuff like that. I can't play the video because this thing will probably think it's dynamite or whatever, some shit there and pull it. So, this kid was doing some really cool stuff in this match there. He was talking shit during the match, and he, like, talking about him, Dragon Ball Z stuff there. Taz is going on about, like, how, well, I can see by 200,000 people, I'm sure many people have seen this one. But, I'm just continually shocked about how long Dragon Ball Z lasts and the zeitgeist, if you will, of the American psyche or the global psyche. I don't know if this kid's from America. He could be from Europe. I don't know where he's. I don't know. So it's just amazing. This isn't like a flash in the pan movie or whatever. I think Iron Man in America is like here to stay because of that, like those movies and the popularity of the character. But Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super is not even close to having an anime anymore. I think it is a movie coming out this year, but no word on the anime coming back for some reason. They have manga to pull from, but no word on the anime. I guess they're biding their time until then. But it just amazes me how long this thing lasted. What about you? Let me know in the comments. Does Dragon Ball Z surprise you how long this thing lasted? Or are you like, of course I knew it was going to happen? Let me know. Black off.